few little thoughts here, but I know I'm on target. Amen. Sometimes you question the Lord with things you got on your heart. Then when you get and you see how the chorus of the service goes, Brother Ronnie, you know you're in touch with the Lord. And I appreciate the Lord tonight. And them talking about going home, talking about going to heaven. And I thought I'm in no hurry to die. I'm in no hurry to leave my family. But I thought I'm looking forward to going to heaven. I'm looking forward to leaving this old corrupt world behind. The things of this world, the pressures of life. I thought sometimes you just become overwhelmed with it. But I thought I'm glad tonight that I have a better place promised to me. I thought this is not a hope that I'm going. It's a no-so, Brother Jim, that I'm going. I thought we got a better place after a while. But I thought, would you turn your Bible to the book of James, chapter 4. Verse 13. It says, "Go now, ye that say tomorrow," to say today or tomorrow, "we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. Whereas you know not what shall be on tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time, and then vanish away. For that ye ought to say, If the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. But now you rejoice in your boastings, as such rejoicing is evil. Therefore to him that knoweth to do good and doeth not, to him it is sin." Right. I thought we read there in verse 14, it says, "For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time, and then vanish away." Come on. I thought, the thought that I've got on my mind tonight is simply going somewhere. And I thought as I began to testify, and as I began to sing, and me already thinking about going somewhere, I thought I began to get excited because I know that we're going somewhere. I thought we're not just stuck here. I don't know about you, but I've been stuck a few times. I thought last winter, Brother Steve is he's a Ford guy. He likes Ford. There's nothing wrong with that. I drive to work every day and it gets me there. I'm happy for it. But I like Chevrolet. We like to pick on each other a little bit. But I thought last winter he got ran out of the road and he was stuck. And he called me and I could have gotten my work truck and drove it and pulled him out with a Ford, but no, I drove my Chevrolet. And I pulled him out. And but the thing about it, Brother Ronnie, is he didn't say, "You're not hooking to me," and pull me out. Because he was stuck. He was glad to get out. I thought he had somewhere he wanted to go. And he wanted to get there. And as a matter of fact, he was coming to my house. And I thought, but when we get stuck, we want to get out of that. We don't want to stay there. Because we want to be going somewhere. Well, sometimes we spiritually get stuck. Sometimes we spiritually get into a rut. But I'm looking for a place tonight that I'm going somewhere, and I'm prepared to be there. Yeah. I thought I read a little thing today, and in my searching and trying to get things together, and I thought it was sort of fitting, and I thought we all know who Dr. Seuss is. I thought my kids had every one of his books when they was kids, and I don't know if I even read this one, but Dr. Seuss wrote a poem. The places you'll go, and there was a part of it that said you have brains in your head and you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction that you choose. You're on your own and you know what you know, and you are the guy who'll decide where you go. And I thought I began to think about that, and I thought the decision is totally up to us tonight where we go. I thought Sister Kathy was talking about the young people as they graduate, and I thought and you go to a graduation, you see them all stand and they like she said, as they throw their hats and they look and they think they've got the world by the tail at that time, and they're going to just do whatever. And I thought then you get some and they begin to succeed a little bit, and the world says that they're going places. I've heard that saying a lot whenever someone begins to succeed in the world, and they say, well, they're really going places. They're really getting somewhere. But the most important thing in our life is where we're going with God. I thought that no matter where we do, no matter how we succeed in life, I thought that's not the important issue.
Right.
I thought I talked to a guy the other day. He came in at work, and matter of fact, he's one that I went and met in Boston last week, and we were there, and as we were waiting, when he came to work there, we were waiting to go into my boss's office. He had a phone call, and we were standing there. We was talking a little bit, and somehow or another the conversation of our families came up, and I told him that my kids, or maybe David, had walked through the office, and I introduced him, and we began to talk about homeschooling our kids, and found out that him and his wife, and she'd quit her job and homeschooled theirs, and I told him, I said, people always told us that our kids wouldn't succeed in life if we homeschooled them, we sheltered them, and I thought, but I said I feel like they've done pretty good, but I thought even with that, there's still direction that they can take sometimes that we don't want them to. Right. And I thought, but we've all got somewhere that we're going.
Come on.
But I thought the other day, as I was fixing to leave, and I went to work, and I came back home, and I spent some time with Sister Kathy before I left, but I went and I got to the airport, and I was sitting there at the Bluegrass Airport, and it's a pretty small airport. And we were sitting there, and I was talking to Sister Kathy, and she says it's crowded. And I looked around, and I said, well, there's not a lot of people in the terminal where I'm at. And I said, it's just not very busy. And I got on the airplane, and I was like 2 seats back behind first class, and I got on there, and they put me by the window, and nobody beside me, and I felt like I was in first class to have all that room on the airplane. And so I flew on down, and I got into Charlotte, North Carolina, and I got off the plane, and in a big international airport, and I had to go from one side to plumb to the other side to catch the next plane, and I went through all that crowd and all that business, and I began to see all of those people running here and there trying to catch their next flights, and I got into that terminal, got on that plane, and they gave me a number and a seat, and I was in the main back of the plane, sitting right between 2 people with a full airplane in front of me. Yeah. I mean, the place was packed, and I began to think about all these people have somewhere to go. I thought, we left Lexington, and there was a couple people maybe that left Lexington with me that got on that plane that for some reason they were going to Boston. But I thought after we got to North Carolina, a lot of people that was on the plane with me, I never seen no more. They went other directions, and I thought that's the way it is a lot of times with life. I thought people that we feel like that we're ready to just to do everything with, and then things happen in life, Sister Marcia, and we look around and they're not there no more. The ones that we thought was going to be behind us and support us all the way, Brother Bill, we look around and they're not there no more. But I thought the thing is, we're all going somewhere, and I thought if we're not careful, we'll allow things to cause us to take different directions. I thought, I don't know about you tonight, but I thought I want to stay on course. Well, Sister Kathy was, I was there at the house, and when I got on the airplane, I would text her before they would tell us to turn our cellular devices into airplane mode, and I'd send her a text, and I'd say, I'm on the plane, and we're fixing to leave. And she got on the computer, and she'd type in my flight number. I didn't know you could do all that. But she would type in my flight number, and she was sitting there at the house, and she said she was quilting, and she would watch that airplane as it took off, and she would watch it on course. And I thought as we was left Charlotte, we was going to Boston, and they delayed us a few minutes because of the fog, and the plane, they finally let us take off, but it was still foggy. We still couldn't land. And she was watching that plane as it veered off course, and it went out over the Atlantic Ocean, and then it came back in, and then it crossed the path, and it veered out again. And she said, I began to watch it as it began to veer. And as it went over here, and she wondered what it was doing. But after a while, it got on course. And I thought, but I don't know about you tonight, Brother Bill, but I don't want to veer off course. I thought, I've got to go in mind, and I want to get there. I thought, I was on that airplane, and I knew when he said we was approaching Boston, and how long it should have took to fly. And I was sitting there, and I was wondering, how come we're not on the ground yet? And I thought, a lot of times we begin to wonder those things. How come we're not getting to where we need to be, but we're allowing things to get us off course? And I thought, we're going somewhere. And I thought, I don't want the Lord to come back no time and me be off course. I thought, I want to be where God wants me to be. I thought we are all going somewhere.
Yeah.
I thought here in this life there's many destinations.
Come on, son.
And sometimes we're able to take our time and we're able to enjoy those trips. I thought a few weeks ago, Sister Kathy and I left here on a Wednesday afternoon, and we took us a couple of days on the trip. And I thought we didn't have no schedule, Sister Marcia.
Come on.
We just got in the car, we took our time, and we drove.
Yes.
We got to where we was going. We checked in our motel, and we went in to rest a little bit. We decided we want to go eat. Whatever we wanted to do, we done at our leisure pleasure.
Right.
Because we was on a trip for enjoyment.
Uh-huh.
But I thought then sometimes you get on a trip, like the trip that I took this week, and there's no enjoyment. I thought it was go from the time I touched down to the time I got back on. And I thought, at about 11 o'clock Thursday night, I called Sister Kathy, and I was in the car, and I was headed to leaving the airport, and I got my phone, and I called her, and I said, I'm on my way home. I said, I have never been so glad to hear the sound of a Ford engine in my life. And I thought, and I set it down, and I was headed toward the house. And I thought, because all the things, the rush and the bustle of the trip that I had to take, and the tiresome of it, and I thought I was just wore out. And I thought sometimes those trips of life began to overwhelm us. And I thought what we need to do is realize that we're on the main course. And the main trip that we're taking is our destination with God. I thought you can say a lot of things about a lot of places. I told some of them when I got back to work. I said, well, I've been to Boston, but I can't tell you nothing about Boston. I thought I flew over Washington, D.C., and I got to see the Pentagon, but I can't tell you nothing about Washington, D.C.
Come on.
I thought, and a lot of times that's the way we are with our experiences with God. There's a lot of people that said, I'm saved, but they can't tell you what it's like to be saved. They've not really got an experience. I thought, and it's sad that a lot of people live their life, and they live it however they want to, and then they come down, and then there's a preacher that goes in and talks to them and says, and they come back and they got saved. But did the Spirit of God really woo them? That's the seriousness of really coming whenever the Spirit of God begins to woo us. And I thought it's one thing to call out on the name of God, but if the Spirit of God hasn't called us, then did we really get saved? I thought that's why we need to make sure that we know where we're going. Because we are going somewhere.
Yes, we are.
And I thought the thing about the trips here in life is, like I said, there was a lot of people that left Lexington, Kentucky. And I know one guy that got on the plane that was talking, and I don't know if he was I know he was with the University of Kentucky, and there was a lady that I recognized him. She said, where are you headed to? And he said, I'm headed to Dallas. And I believe it was Texas anyway, but I'm pretty sure he said Dallas. And he said, I'm going out to scout. So I'm assuming he was with one of the sports programs in Lexington, and the University of Kentucky. And he was going out to try to get someone to play for their team. I don't know nothing about him. But he had a destination. The lady that was talking to him, she ended up in Boston where I went. There was others that went different places. And they all left out of the same airport. But they went to a lot of different places. But I thought there's one thing about this life. There's only two destinations. It's either heaven or hell.
That's right.
And I thought we've got to know where we're going. We've got to know our direction.
Yes, we do.
Like I said, I knew I didn't have a whole lot tonight. But as I began to prepare tonight, and I've still got what I thought I might preach last Sunday night in my Bible. And so I thought I might use that today. But as I begin to think about this service tonight, I'm just simply thinking of going somewhere.
Right.
He said, well, it's easy if you think about it. You just took a trip. I thought we're all getting ready to take a trip.
That's right.
I thought we're all getting ready to go
That's
somewhere.
right. That's right.
We're fixing to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Little fellow I work with, Brother Sparks, gave him a prayer request for him this morning. And after I got home, it was probably about 10 o'clock. We started the service. Gave him a prayer request for him. He had a massive heart attack. Didn't know if he was going to make it. When I got home, I pulled out my phone and looked. And about 10 minutes after 10 this morning, he left this world. I thought Tuesday morning was the last day he was at work. He was sick, felt bad, but I thought we had no idea that he'd be leaving this world this week.
Come on now.
And I thought, you don't know when you're leaving either.
Right.
I don't know when I'm leaving.
Never
We're
know.
going somewhere, church.
Right. Yes,
I
we
thought, I
are.
don't know about you, but I want to be where, like Sister Miranda sang that song, I'm going to the city
Oh, yeah.
where there be no more night. I'm going to a city where Jesus is alive. I thought, I don't know about you. That's where I want to go.
Yeah, I wanna
I want to
go.
go somewhere tonight. If they give us a song, maybe Brother Sparks got something to add to us. I thought, let's come to this altar. I thought, if you don't know for sure, and there's a reason why the Lord's led this service in the direction He has
Sure
to.
is now.
It is.
Because if you don't know for sure where you're going, tonight's the night. Make sure you know. You said, well, I'm praying. But I thought, have you really got a relationship with God?
Right.
Do you really know in your heart that you're saved? And if you don't know how, then come and get somebody and ask them, help me to find my way.
That's
Lord."
right. Right.
I thought my mom had an uncle and Uncle Woody. That's what we called him. I remember being a little kid. Uncle Woody always had a drop mouth and an eye. And I was a little kid. I was scared to death, Uncle Woody. And but after I got to know him, I thought a lot of Uncle Woody.
Uh-huh.
And he got sick, and Uncle Woody was a loner. He never had no family with him. He had children, but and I think maybe his wife had died young, and whatever. And he raised those kids, but he's by himself. And but he never did get saved. He was in the hospital, and bad shape. Sister Sparks went over one day, and she said, Uncle Woody, I come and pray for you, but today I want you to pray for yourself.
Yeah.
He looked at her and he said, Esther, I don't know how. And she said, well, you just repeat after me.
Yeah.
And she began to pray.
Yeah.
And Uncle Woody began to repeat after her. And then after a while, Uncle Woody got in contact with the Lord. And Uncle Woody began to pray all by himself.
Yes, yes.
They took him down to the rehabilitation area there, put him in that whirlpool in a gurney, and they lowered him in the water. I didn't get to be there, but they told me that he began to shake and shout as they put him under the water about being saved. God gloriously saved a man that had no idea how to ask God to save him. But because someone took the time and said, Uncle Woody, just follow after me.
Yes.
He said, well, that ain't the way you do it. It works. Because once he got in touch with the Lord, he just began to open up to the Lord and began to say, Lord, save Woodrow.
Yeah.
Save Woodrow Oliver. To save him from his sins and begin just to pour his heart out to God. And God gloriously. He went somewhere.
Yes.
He left this life. He didn't have a lot in this world. And he didn't have none of the fine things of this world. But the things he's got now far exceed anything Uncle Woody had in this life. All because someone told him how to get in touch with God. I thought, if you don't know how to get in touch with Him tonight, and I don't know why the Lord's laid this on my heart like He has, come to this altar tonight and make for a surety that you know without a shadow of a doubt where you're going. Because we're going somewhere tonight. As they come and give us a song, let's pray.
All I know, what has hit me hard, is the man come while he's singing.
I had those two dreams this morning. The one first being in the preparation room and it being so bad that they had got somebody else to take care of it. And then they had the next one with the armful of garden food. And we had tremendous service this year this morning.
Yes.
And I felt like that was part of that dream. But the other one, it had to stick with me that way. Serious matter.
Yes.
Come on. And for the service to go like it is, and Brother Mitchell to preach like it is, and I know people said, don't scare me, don't scare me. I'm just telling you the truth.
Right.
And just like he's told you the truth. We don't know when we're leaving here.
We don't.
Right.
How soon.
know.
Amen. I plan on being ready. Are you?
Yes. Yes. Lord.
Come on, while they sing. Let's stand. Let's come to this altar.
Oh, help us, Jesus. Help us, God.
Hallelujah.
Help us, God. Help us, God. Help us tonight, dear Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Tonight, dear Lord. Help us tonight, dear Lord.
Oh, glory to God.
Help us, God, dear Jesus. Help us, dear
Thank you, Jesus.
Jesus. Hallelujah, Jesus. Hallelujah, Jesus.